guys. Thanks for your patience while we get through this little technical speed wobble. It sounds like the sound is working.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, Prairie Circle Chat, folks. This half hour goes super, super fast. So today what we're talking about in honor of Lymphedema Awareness Month is staying active with lymphedema. And we have two amazing folks with us today. I'm Holly, CEO here at Prairie Wear. And today we have with us two amazing folks that I'm going to allow to introduce themselves so that you can hear directly from them. So we have Elise and Amy. Elise, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Elise Cantu. I am a board-certified oncologic clinical specialist and LANA certified lymphedema therapist, which means that I help patients reclaim their health and wellness after a cancer diagnosis. So I have an online education platform, the OncoPT, which is where I know some people know me from, and I'm just really passionate about helping my patients. So I teach other physical therapists how to do this in their own practice.
Awesome. Amy.
Hi, I'm Amy Rivera. I was born with primary lymphedema, and I'm the founder of Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema Foundation and the author of Drop the Skirt, How My Disability Became My Superpower. But most importantly, I'm a patient like everybody else.
Great. And so our intention here, guys, if you're joining us for the first time, is to really bring awareness and education to people. And we bring our Prairie community together because we have such an awesome community to share the education that we get to experience every day. And so we'll go through a series of questions. This half hour goes super, super fast. So please put your questions in chat. We probably won't get to them, but what we will do is make sure that we reach out after and answer your questions. And also you can tag into Elise and Amy anytime to get information, and they both have extraordinary Insta handles, so check it out. So we'll start with our topic of staying active with lymphedema. I think one of the first questions is, and this will be to you, Elise, what's the importance of staying active?
It's so important. That's the short answer, right? We know based on ample amounts of research, especially in the breast cancer community, that lymphedema does not mean that you should not exercise. In fact, lymphedema is actually helped by exercise, and exercise does not exacerbate or make lymphedema worse when it's managed appropriately and when a person is participating in an appropriate exercise plan. Now, if my patient who has never exercised before goes out and tries to do Olympic powerlifting tomorrow, we could have a problem. But as long as a person is under a appropriate, graded, gradual exercise program, it can actually be really, really beneficial for a person with lymphedema. So again, the short answer is it's super, super important because it can really be a tool that patients can use to even manage and better their lymphedema over time.
Right. And from a patient level, I think, and actually I see there's a great question here that I didn't cover off, which is there a link to exercise or lymphedema management that you would like to offer people that they can go to get a little more information? Or you can also check out our Instagram where we do have some links to all these incredible folks. But is there kind of your go-to, Elise, that you like to offer folks when they're looking for information?
Absolutely. So this first resource is a little more limited to the breast cancer side of things because that's more of where I spend my time. However, we know that is not the only situation in which patients can develop lymphedema, but there is an amazing resource called the Strength After Breast Cancer Program. And this is actually how we came about a lot of this information about how beneficial exercise is for patients with lymphedema. So Strength After Breast Cancer is a fabulous exercise program for patients on whole body strengthening, aerobic exercise, and even flexibility training that targets a healthier body overall, which is amazing. If there's a patient out there who's looking for you know what, Elise, I want numbers. I want some hard evidence to say, to support what you're saying. There is an amazing resource by the American College of Sports Medicine. And of course, it is slipping my mind right now. I will link to it after this is done, but I think it's something along the lines of health-related effects of exercise in patients with cancer, and it actually gives a very specific prescription of when if a person has lymphedema, this is the exact dosing we would recommend to improve strength, and that has been shown beneficial in patients with lymphedema and is not going to exacerbate or worsen their lymphedema.
Awesome. And I know for us, we always say, talk to your medical professional. So work with them. They're going to know how to work with you and your body and find that right person to work with you. So we always recommend talking to your medical professional directly as well in regards to your personal recovery. But I do know that in looking at your Instagram and also checking out your many speaking events, Amy, one of the things that you incorporate into your everyday life is activity. And
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking to her first, then you said Amy. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I know. You're like, oh, I'm the speaker. Yes. Well, you guys are both amazing speakers. And so in this case, though, I was referencing you because I feel like you've really dedicated yourself to incorporating activity into your everyday life as another tool in your tool belt to maintain health.
I have. You know, as I stated earlier in my intro, you know, I was born with primary lymphedema, and that took my childhood away. It took my teenage years away and most of my young adulthood because I was misdiagnosed. And then when I was diagnosed, it was don't move, don't exercise, and it made things worse for me. So once I started to listen to my body, I realized that movement was the key for me to feel better, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And as a matter of fact, I threw myself into activity so much that I had hired like 3 personal trainers to, you know, one of my goals was to do a bodybuilding competition. No other reason than because I couldn't do it when I was younger, you know, so I just wanted to reach one of my childhood goals. And I had to fire all of them because none of them understood my body and how to help train me. So I hired someone who had lymphedema. And so that person was Amanda Sobey. And when I hired her, she got me because she has lymphedema. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she understood the importance of how to move the fluid out of the areas that I was causing inflammation in, which I already had inflammation in. And so with that change, not only was I able to get on the stage and fulfill a childhood dream, but I was like 2 points away from my pro card for the very first time.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, but it took someone like Amanda to understand. Mm-hmm. And so the key point from that was just to really listen to your body and connect with someone who understands your body as much as you did, or you do. And that was someone who had lymphedema. And I mean, if I was able to do that through movement, then, you know, there's definitely, besides the evidence and the, you know, the science and the research, there's definitely a positive impact for someone with lymphedema.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things we hear most often, which you experienced yourself, is those misconceptions around exercise and lymphedema. And also that advocacy for yourself of, if it doesn't feel right, keep asking, because that connection can be found hopefully with someone else. Is there something in your practice, Elise, that you feel is the most common misconception or a concern that, yes, what would that be?
I mean, unfortunately, I feel like it mirrors a lot of what Amy has already said. Is I have so many patients who are told, oh, you have lymphedema, don't move, or you're at risk of lymphedema, so we don't want to move and potentially cause it. When, like, especially in the secondary lymphedema world, like, lymphedema is going to unfortunately happen when lymphedema is going to happen, because a lot of my patients already have an impaired lymphatic system. And so this concept of like, don't move or you might cause it is so false. And that really just builds a lot of fear in patients to where they're afraid of moving. And that is probably something that we can experience for our patients.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy, in your vast experience as well, is there a misconception that you hear most often, or a question that people ask you most consistently in regards to exercise? Yeah.
Why do I do it?
I
do. I get it. That's like the #1 question. Why and how? And it's very simple. It's all about perspective. You know, you take a healthy person who never been close to losing their life or never been close to being disabled, and they take it for granted sometimes. Not everyone, but this is what they do. And then when you have someone like myself who was told you'll never be able to do this and you can't do this, and yeah, the perspective is, I get to do it now. I get to walk into the gym or go to the park. I get to choose if I want to lift a weight or do yoga. And it's all about perspective, but it's also really, the why is because I've never been able to. And now that I can, why wouldn't I? Because all you're doing is pouring that self-love and that self-care and taking care of your body back into yourself. And that's my answer to them. But those are the two questions I get: why and how do you do it? And it's the fire within me from not having it as a child, not being able to do it, is my why.
Awesome. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think it is easy in our world to take for granted the luxuries that we have quite often. And I think that getting in touch with yourself, regardless of lymphedema or not lymphedema, whatever your journey is, to really listen to yourself and find that place that you need to put your energy. So I love that. And one of the questions that we get a lot is, when should I start exercising? When on my lymph journey should I start exercising or not exercising? We're not medical professionals here at Prairie, where we always try to connect people with the right thing. We're all about compression and supporting activity in the safest way possible and having people feel safe and secure. What would you answer when people are asking, besides, contact your medical professional, what's kind of that continuum of when is it safe to exercise in your lymph journey?
Absolutely. So for me as a lymphedema therapist, when we look at lymphedema treatment, we're looking at, there's the decongested phase or the reduction phase, where we're trying to shrink the body part as much as possible, move as much fluid out of that body part as we can. And then the maintenance phase, which is trying to keep it steady. Both of those include skin exercise. And I feel like the exercise component kind of gets like shoved to the side, but it is just as integral, as the other parts of complete. So ideally what should be happening is, as a patient is working with their certified lymphedema therapist on their reduction and maintenance journey, they are incorporating exercise alongside the other parts of that treatment. So with my patients, what I really try to do is, again, like, as long as there's nothing outstanding, like extenuating circumstances, I'm trying to get them to move basically from day one. Now, we do have to be gradual about it. Maybe that means for my patient who has never been a mover, who has never been an exerciser, that we start with a really simple walking program around their home, or then branching out into their communities. For my patient, maybe we were previously exercisers and now have a diagnosis of lymphedema. How can we get back to doing the things that they want to do, that they like to do? I don't know about you, but there are some exercises I don't enjoy doing as much, and so I'm not going to do those as much. But if I find something, or if my patient finds something they like, let's lean into that, right? If you like to move, right, like, let's go, friend.
Awesome.
Yep, I agree. And a lot of people think, because they saw me in the gym, they think they have to go in the gym and slam weights and be all, yeah. No, you don't. If doing ankle pumps or wrist twists or whatever is helping you, that movement is just as important as what you think I'm doing in the gym. And, my favorite movement is yoga and swimming. It's my favorite. And, so people think you have to do all these hard, difficult things, and you actually don't. You really don't. And like you said, as long as there's no major issues going on prior to seeing your therapist or trying to get back on that routine, as early as possible, because movement is the key to lymphatic fluid movement. It's the key. So I totally agree. Yeah.
And in addition to movement and other management that you're doing on a daily basis, what's something else that you feel creates a big role for you, Amy? Like community of support, or what are some of those key aspects that help you every day?
So I'm currently going through a rough time with my lymphatics. I have officially now stage 1 in my left leg, and I have a blockage in my abdominal area, and I have a central lymphatic situation. So what helps me is sharing my journey with not only my online community, but my community here at home and my support system. And sometimes people are like, you share a lot of personal information. Yes, I do, but you never know who else needs to hear it. You never know who else is going through it. And as I share it, people are reaching out to me saying, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one dealing with this. So that helps me in return of helping others. That's what really helps me during my journey. You know, people say, oh, you've helped me so much. I'm like, do you really know how much you've helped me?
Mm.
Do you know? This
Yeah.
is a mutual beneficial relationship.
Yeah. Mm. Thank you for that. And I think what's really beautiful about what you've just said is that's the third time that I've heard today that sharing stories empowers other people. And that sometimes we think that sharing our story is a bit braggadocious, or we don't want to talk about ourselves. We let everybody else talk about themselves or whatnot. But what you just said just gave me chills, because what we do is empower other people by sharing our story. And we also, I feel, help them legitimize and feel confident in feeling the way that they feel. And so thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I think that was a really powerful message for all of us to hear, that sharing stories makes a difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for
It
that.
helps with healing. It helps heal,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Very much. Very much. So with that, it's hard to talk about something else, but we'll go to it, because community is really important. And I think that's why we're doing social media as well, guys. Obviously not a natural on social media, but we really reach a lot of people. It's touching people in a place where they need to be heard. And so in addition to community and activity, Elise, what are some other management tools that you find really helpful in your practice with your patients?
You know, I really have to go back to something that you two were just speaking about, which is sometimes just listening to and validating a person's experience. You know, I don't have lymphedema, but I work with a lot of patients who do, and even just being that listening ear to listen to the patient as they're expressing these frustrations, these emotions, these highs, these lows, and just being there to say, this is real, this is your experience, and this is totally valid. Yeah. And sometimes, like, okay, sometimes, like, I'm not giving them permission, but sometimes saying it's okay to feel this and to share this, it's like, I think that is a really powerful tool that I can use as a professional, as the clinician, to create that patients. You know, I really believe in the power of community, and so connecting my patients with local resources, is a really powerful tool. And then I think what's so nice, and again, thank you, Prairie, for doing this, is people are online. People are on social media.
Yeah.
If they're going to be on there, then why not get them connected with these great resources that have really empowering information for them, so that they can take control of their journey, especially when with lymphedema, like, I feel like sometimes the control is taken away. This is a way to kind of put the control back in that person's hands.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think in terms of education, it is empowerment, and that ability to be a self-advocate and find the therapist that works for you. I think I was listening to your podcast earlier today in regards to the Lymphedema Treatment Act. Yes. And because there's so much misconception, and even I don't know, and this is something that I work with every day. And so I was listening to it in education, thank you so much, and understanding that the DME, durable medical equipment, will be covered, surgeries and other things will not. And so one of the things that kind of clicked in my head is how important activity is. And that's something that obviously anyone can do and do as a part of their treatment plan. And with, you know, finally compression garments being covered, I think a lot of people can become more active and securely. So I was really jazzed about that. But where I was going with that is just that the education that's available, and I wanted to take a quick moment for each of you to be able to share your resources to make sure that people can find you. Again, we're all about education and empowerment and bringing our communities together. These are such powerful women, you guys, that support this community every single day of their lives. And we want to make sure that you can find them well beyond this small chat. So, Elise, could you share where people can find your podcast and anything else you might want to share about how we find you? And then we'll hear from Amy.
Absolutely. So on the OncoPT platform, so all of my handles are the OncoPT. This is where I educate other clinicians, other therapists, how to treat patients with cancer and lymphedema. So you can find my podcast, the OncoPT podcast, on all of the major podcast players. And if you're a patient out there looking for more information, I'm starting to be a little more active. I actually have a private practice here in Fort Worth, and that is Fort Worth Cancer Care. So you can find me at FW Cancer Care on the socials.
Awesome. Great. And Amy?
So for Amy Rivera, all my socials are Thrive with Amy. And for a lot of people have asked me about the white bandages I'm wearing, the Fast and Go bandages. I am the executive. I'm not an executive of anything. I'm the exclusive distributor for North America for Fast and Go bandages, and you can look up Rivera Hybrid Solutions. And Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema is at winnerfight.org.
Awesome. Cool. And we have had Prairie Circle chats this entire month, and really great people, including Amanda Sobey, Betty Westbrook, Dr. Alex Hill, some really amazing folks. You guys, I'm missing some names, so just check out the chats. But there's so much great information. This is an incredible community, and we're here to bring everybody together. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to us, reach out to these two lovely humans. And thank you for sharing your time with us. We're really thankful for that.
Thanks.
And that's, guys, we're at a half an hour already. It's so fast.
That is fast.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this. I love doing this with everybody because, it's just about community. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Until next time. Thanks, guys.